There we go. All right. Welcome to Adulting with Donnie. I hit record on the live show and totally forgot that I needed to hit it on my my recording device. So, welcome back. Where the fuck have I been? I have been absent for over a month. It's been over a month since I posted an episode. Not the way that I prefer to do it. I don't really, here's what happened. Let me just change this real quick. There we go. All right. Here's what happened. Was about a month ago, I, in a fit of alcohol-fueled rage, I deactivated the Adulting with Donnie podcast Facebook page. Which I had no idea was going to be such a fucking process to reactivate it. I don't know if you've ever deactivated your Facebook. If you deactivate your Facebook, it's, I've done it I haven't done that in quite a few years now, actually. The most that I'll do now these days is if I want to take a breather from Facebook, if I want to take like a minute off. If I realize that I'm spending too much time on my phone scrolling through Reels or something like that, I want to take a day or two off. What I'll do is I'll uninstall the app from my phone. Deactivating is very much the same thing. The thing is when you deactivate your Facebook page, all you have to do to get back onto Facebook is log in. That's it. That's all you have to do. You're done. You're logging back in. Really, there's no difference between deactivation and logging out, and just logging out of Facebook. The major difference is that you don't show up on your friend list anymore. If they try to look you up, it'll say content not available or something like that. So, not the same case when it comes to running a fucking Facebook page. Apparently, you need to move mountains in order to reactivate a Facebook page. I tried to do it through my phone a few times, and it wasn't loading correctly because the Facebook app on the cell phone is not very user friendly to begin with. Facebook in general is just not very user friendly. It's a self-automated system that runs itself for the most part. They have like 5 employees working for all of Facebook. And the customer service, the way that they do their customer service is almost genius, but also will drive people insane. Their customer service is like, here's a forum of people who asked similar questions, and maybe you can find an answer here. So it took me a while to get the fucking Facebook page reactivated, but I finally pulled it off last night. So here I am, and I'm back. Steve Arneal, and Joe Mack, Joe from the Bridge. Hey, buddy, glad to see you back. And Steve Arneal saying, "What's up, brother? Good luck at your game tomorrow, Steve." So that's where I've been. That's why I haven't been able to post in a couple weeks. And then tonight, I finally got the page reactivated yesterday, and wanted to get this done tonight because right now at 8:00 because I have New England Natives with Tom at 9:00. So me and Tom Bruno, formerly of the You Suck Network, we do a show called New England Natives, and we are doing that show tonight at 9:00. So I texted him earlier and I said, hey, I'm gonna do my show at about 8:00, and then once that show's done, then I'll we'll roll right into New England Natives, which is fun. I think it was a week or two ago we did an episode. And that show is still like in its infancy. It's still a very new show. We've been doing it since, I don't know, March or April. Maybe even earlier than that. I can't really remember when we started. It may have even been February. I'm not sure. But either way, that show is really still very new, and we're still kind of figuring out what we want to make out of it. It started off as like, we'll talk about New England type stuff, cool places to visit in New England, cool things going on in New England, shit like that. And then it turned into, then it was like events going on, events coming up, that type of shit. in New England, mostly northern New England, and now last week we just kind of shot the shit. We just shot the shit back and forth for an hour. The episodes are supposed to be like 30 to 40 minutes, and we shot the shit back and forth for about an hour. So, and it was a lot of fun. So whenever that last episode was, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, but whatever. So that's why I'm recording so early on a Thursday night. I have a major confession to make. I don't know if it's a confession or an announcement. Take it however you want it. But I have a big confession to make here, and I don't know how I feel about it right now, but and hopefully you guys are still accepting of me after I make this confession. But I'm a non-alcoholic. This is a recent discovery of mine, that I'm a non-alcoholic. I know that might be shocking for some of you to hear after 3.5 years of watching me get wasted on the show. Drinking, a glass of bourbon or something like that. Well, I drink 3 or 4 or 5 beers over the course of an hour. This is something very recent. So here's what happened was just shy of 2 weeks ago now. I decided I wanted to try a diet. I wanted to try like a strict diet is what I had said. And it was actually a suggestion from Rochelle way back in January. She had said because I'm working, I'm still working out, obviously. I'm doing all this work, trying to, really get to like my ideal physique, if you will. So she had suggested way back in January, she was like, just pick 2 weeks and pick a diet that you like and just do 2 weeks of that diet, like really, really strict. So then I broke my ankle, and because I had planned on doing it the last 2 weeks of February. Then I broke my ankle, and everything went to hell. I put on fucking like 20 or 25 pounds. Excuse me. I didn't move for, I didn't really do a lot of activity for the first 4 weeks. And then for the next 2 weeks after that, I did some activity going to the gym. And then, slowly progressed my way back to like actually being active and actually getting to the gym. And, but even still, I wasn't really doing very good at getting up to go to the gym. Before I broke my ankle, I was getting up fucking every morning, was like 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, getting up, getting out the door, getting to the gym, getting in a good workout. I'm certain that all of my listeners love all of my workout talk over the past 12 months. But whatever, it's what I have to talk about. So I was doing really good about that before I broke my ankle. After I broke my ankle, it was so very hard throughout, February and March were a fucking wash. February I barely got off the couch throughout all of February. And even maybe even most of March, because even like the second half of March, I went back to work, but I could only work 4 hours a day, and then I would come home and I'd just lay on the couch, and that was it, ice and elevate, ice and elevate, ice and elevate. So I didn't get to really start like getting more active until April. And even in April, like the doctor said that I could get on the bicycle, and I think that I eventually kind of, moved up to the elliptical a little bit, but not much. I couldn't do a lot. So April, I didn't do enough, and sleeping in every day and fucking drinking every night, and just, I don't know. I don't know where I went wrong. I don't know how I did it a fucking year ago, because a year ago I was still drinking every night and somehow waking up, going to bed at fucking midnight and waking up at 4:30. Maybe that 1 year just added some years to me. I don't know. But either way, the whole point is that, I didn't get to do that diet in February. So I looked at the calendar a few weeks ago, and I looked at the second 2 weeks in July, and saw that they were clear, and meaning that we don't have anything going on. Me and my mate, we don't have anything going on. We don't have any parties to go to, because the summer is fucking packed. From like early May all the way until like mid September or later. Our summer is fucking packed with like just all sorts of stuff to do. So I looked at the calendar, and this last 2 weeks of July is clear. We don't have anything going on. My maid is in school all week. She's supposed to be getting up early, so she can't be up wicked late. She doesn't have really, she's umpiring for softball right now, but she can't really go like play softball every night or anything. And I haven't been going to as many games this year anyways. So I thought, okay, this last 2 weeks of July, I'm going to pick a really strict diet, and I'm going to focus on that for 2 weeks, and I did really good. I'm not even gonna. I'll pat myself on the back. I did really good the first week. Second week has been a little. Basically, that first week was me really figuring out, what do I like about this diet? What do I like about any diet? What can I take with me after this is over? What do I want to keep? And what am I like? I can change that a little bit. But so last week, all week long, all I fucking drank was water. I may have thrown in a green tea here and there. But all I drank last week was water. No coffee. I haven't had coffee in over a week now, about a week and a half. Which, I drink black coffee anyways, which is 0 calorie. There's nothing to it. It's not it's not bad, but it wasn't included in the diet. So, the diet said fucking water. Okay, water it is. So that's what I've been drinking, is just water. The breakfast that it gives me it's an interesting fucking breakfast, because who would have thought that you would have this for breakfast? It is a cup of green peppers, 3 ounces of chicken breast. What else is in there? 1 apple. What else is going on? Fucking 4 egg whites, and then 1 whole egg. Which 4 egg, that's a lot of fucking eggs. But anyways, I went out, I bought all the stuff. Lunch is turkey breast and rice, and dinner is quinoa and shrimp, and there's a handful of other things that I'm missing. Obviously, like there's almonds and there's blueberries, and there's a bunch of stuff in there. But I went out, I bought everything. I meal prepped on a Sunday night. The Sunday before this one. I meal prepped everything. It took me fucking like 2.5, 3 hours to meal prep everything. So I got everything ready. I put it all in like little, I put it all in little, containers, and marked them all, Monday breakfast, Monday lunch, Tuesday breakfast, Tuesday lunch. And so the first week went really well. But the problem was leading up to Friday. I was like, I really fucking, it's been a long ass week, and this has been a long ass week. It's Wednesday night right now, and this has been a long ass week too. But last week just felt like it just felt like such a goddamn long week. And so leading up to Friday, I was like, I know that Rochelle wants to have a beer on Friday night. Beer is not in my fucking diet. And I really want to have a beer with my girlfriend when she gets home. I just want to have a beer with my girlfriend. So I looked up, the first thing that I did was like, what are some healthy beers, right? So I look it up. I get like the top 10 healthiest beers. One of them was, now I can't think of the name. It's one of the stupid fucking names. It's some stupid ass name. But it was like, it has, 98 calories or something like that. And I thought, well, Coors Light has 102. Like, it's not that much better. And even like Michelob Ultra is like, I don't know, 65, 70 calories, something like that. So maybe I should check that actually. Oh, and that other one, the one that I just said was like 98. It was like a 4.5 alcohol. Michelob Ultra. I meant to look up calories. There you are. Well, there's only 8 calories in Michelob Ultra. What's the ABV on that? Michelob Ultra ABV. Now this is a much different link. That actually says, this says 3.8 ABV with 85 calories per 12 ounces. So, even that makes a lot more sense to me. So then I was like, well, what's a this is where I was saying I'm a non-alcoholic. I looked up what's like a healthy non-alcoholic beer. And I came up with a few. I came up with another top 10 list, and one of them that I found was Athletic Brewing Company, and it's a non-alcoholic. It's less than 0.5 ABV, and it was like 70 calories, I think. So I was like, this is great. This is perfect. This is lower calories, much lower calories than a Coors Light. It's non-alcoholic, so I can feel just fine drinking it. So I bought a 6-pack, which was $10, which is way too much for a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer. But whatever, they want to make money. So I buy a 6-pack of that, and I come home, and Rochelle got home after me. So I get our 2 beers poured, and she comes walking in. She sees my glass in my hand, and she's like, oh, "What's that? What, you're drinking a beer?" And then I showed her the can, and she had obviously heard of it, and she had tried it before, and we both agree it's very much like many of the craft beers that I've ever had in my life. Picture pretty much any sort of craft beer that's like a, maybe a light beer, and that's what it tastes like, which is fine by me. It tastes just fucking fine. Now I love to have a beer with my girlfriend. I love having beers with her on fucking Friday and Saturday night. Sunday, most of the day is having beers. I love how, I like to, unfortunately, this is where things might, not work out so great, but I love to go out and have a beer. I think it was Saturday night. Saturday night, I was I texted her. I didn't make it to the gym on Saturday morning. So, because the fucking gym doesn't open until 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. So I can't get there before work. So I was like, I'm going to go to the gym after work. So after work, I'm leaving work, and she texted me, and she was like, "Oh, this would be a perfect night to meet up for a drink, but you have your diet." And I was like, well, if we were having this conversation 2 years ago, and you didn't know that I was on my diet, there's 100% chance that I would absolutely break my diet to go have a beer with you. So if you want to, then I will meet up with you for a beer. So that's exactly what we did. We met up. I had a Bud Light. I had 2 Bud Lights. And it was fine. I love going out to have drinks with her, or just having them at home. It doesn't really matter. Sitting on the back porch, whatever we're doing. I just love having a beer with her. But here's what I don't like. I hate to get drunk. I hate it. I don't like to get drunk. I don't like to get fucking wasted. I don't like the feeling of fucking falling, being dizzy or my eyes closing. I don't like having too many beers and like sitting on the couch and feeling my eyes closing because I, drank too much or something like that. I hate getting drunk. I don't like it. I just like having a drink. I just like having beers. And you can't there's no soda that tastes like beers. So, and I don't know what it is, but there is just something satisfying about having a beer. So now, obviously, the that Athletic Brewing is way too expensive for me to like maintain that as like I can just have these. But then I went back to the Market Basket down the street, went to the same section where Athletic Brewing was because that's like their non-alcoholic section, and I found a Coors Light or Coors Edge is what it's called, Coors Edge non-alcoholic beer, and it's like 40 calories, and again like less than 0.5 ABV. And they taste just I'm sure that Rochelle would disagree with me, but I think they taste very similar to a Coors Light, very very similar, and it satisfies me just as much to drink these. They go down just as easy, and they taste just as good. So I think I've converted, guys. I think that I've converted to a non-alcohol. At least, at the very least once in a while. But that's at a bare minimum. Probably, I would say more often than not. The biggest problem is fitting because they only come in a 12-pack, which sucks. I wish they came in a 30 pack, but they don't. And we keep a 30 pack of Coors Light in the fridge at all times. So fitting another 12 beers in there is a little bit of a stretch at times. But yeah, I think that I might be switching it up. And obviously I'm drinking these tonight. They're still not on my diet, but whatever. I'm still sticking to that was kind of the thing, like me and Rochelle talked about at the end of the week last week, of like taking what I like from the diet and, trying to continue to carry it over into the rest of my life, even after this 2 weeks is off, or 2 weeks is up. For starters, I fucking hate quinoa. I don't know how anyone likes that. It is fucking terrible. Rochelle brought me a couple different brands because I couldn't find it. I went to Market Basket and asked. The guy directed me in the completely wrong place. She bought me a few different kinds. One is better than the other, and I can't remember, what they're called. One is certainly easier than the other. One you put in the microwave for 15 minutes, submerged in water to cook it, and the other one you put in the microwave for 90 seconds. I can tell you the one that you put in the microwave for 90 seconds is better than the other one. Tastes better than the other one. But also, then I add some stuff to it. Like I said, I threw some hot sauce on it and poured a bunch of shrimp on top of it, and it makes it bearable, I guess. I don't know how anyone could ever eat it just regular quinoa. But whatever. So, but the breakfast is good, like the fucking chicken and green peppers and what else is in there? The lunch has blueberries and almonds and grapefruit. Like, I never thought that I would have liked grapefruit. I never liked grapefruit as a kid. I will tell you a little story. My mom loved grapefruit juice. I don't think that it was just grapefruit juice in that glass. I think that there was something else in there. I think that she was probably putting like vodka in her grapefruit juice, which is absolutely fine and acceptable. She was a wonderful mother. It's not like she was fucking, getting hammered at 2:00 on a Tuesday and we're coming home off the bus and we're like, Mom, what's for dinner? And she's like, shut up, go away. No, there was nothing like that. She was a wonderful mom. So if she wanted to have a cocktail at the end of the day, fucking have at it, Ma. But anyways, she always had, a bottle of grapefruit juice in the refrigerator. So I wake up one night, middle of the night. I go downstairs because I'm thirsty. I go to the refrigerator. We're out of milk. We're out of orange juice. But there's this bottle that's labeled grapefruit juice. And I thought, and I was, mind you, like 12 years old probably. I thought, I love grapes and I love fruit. So this is probably going to be delicious. And I took a big swig off of it, and it was not. It was fucking terrible. So when I saw grapefruit on my little list of dietary things that I had to eat, I thought, fuck it. I'll buy one. I'll buy what I need and whatever, and I will suffer through it. The same way that I do with the quinoa, I will suffer through it. I was shocked when I finally had it a day or two later, and I loved it. It's probably my favorite thing out of this diet so far is the grapefruit. It's what I look forward to eating the most. So, but that got me talking about diets with Ro the other day, and I had said to her that I think that a lot of diets are really just about starving yourself, because there's just, if you stick to the strict diet, exactly what they tell you to eat, it's really not much food in the first place, which makes sense, because if you're on a diet because you want to lose weight, so you're trying to take in less food than you normally do. Yeah, I had said that, and she had said, like, what about fad diets? And we started talking about fad diets, and there's quite a few fad diets out there. We talked about the Atkins one. I remember when Atkins came out. I remember the you can eat McDonald's. I remember a certain someone in my family who will go nameless. Being like, you can eat McDonald's. You go to McDonald's, you buy fucking 19 hamburgers. All you do is take the bread off and you throw the bread out the window and you eat the hamburger by itself. You can eat all the hamburgers you want from McDonald's and you'll lose weight. And it's like, that's not how it works. This same person was like, I get a lot of exercise. And I was like, no, you don't. And they were like, no, really, I do, because I'll be like upstairs at home and I go downstairs and get something. I get a bag of potato chips, and then I go upstairs, and then maybe an hour later I come back downstairs, and then like an hour after that I go back upstairs and I go downstairs. I'm like, that's not how exercise works. That's like, that's getting your heart rate up for like 30 seconds every couple hours. That's not how exercise works. Like, that would make sense to me if you told me that you were going up and down the stairs. Like, every time that you went down the stairs, you went back up and you did that for like 10 minutes. Okay, that might be a form of exercise. If you did that for 10 minutes and you did that 3, 4, 5 times a day. All right, cool. I'm on board now. All right, I get it. But no, yeah, I get people that I work with that are like, I get plenty of exercise because I'm walking around. Really? Then why do you look like that? Hi, welcome back to Adulting with Donnie. I'm going to get in trouble for everything that I talk about. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get in, look, the fact is, if you want to get in shape, then you're gonna have to put in the fucking work. Okay, that's it. That's really it. If you want to stay how you are, and I won't even go so far as to say like, oh, you're fat, you're fucking a slob, you're gross, blah blah blah. I would never say anything like that. If you are happy how you are, fucking all the power to you. Stay how you are. I fucking applaud you for that. Me personally, I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I was like, what the fuck happened? How did we get to this point? And that's when I fucking made changes. And if you want to make changes, then you fucking have to put the work in. You can't just fucking say, I want to change my life and I want it to happen right now. I listened to a book yesterday called The Secret. And it's like this motivational book. It's pretty good. I like some of it. Other parts of it I think are a little bit bullshit. A lot of it has to do with like positive talking, positive self-talk, keeping negativity out of your life, which all that stuff I was really on board with. But then there's also an element of this book that is like, if you put something out into the universe, then it will come to you and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any work. You just have to fucking put it in the universe that this is what you want, which in a way, I guess, sort of not quite bullshit. Like if I said to myself, I want my pilot license in the next 2 months. And if I woke up every morning and I said that to myself every 15 minutes, every day, all day, I said that to myself, I want to get my pilot license in the next 2 months. At some point, after maybe a couple days of that, at some point, my brain is going to start going, then you need to come up with a fucking plan. You have to do something. You can't just keep saying it. You have to do something. Fucking make more money so that you can go and make the appointments so that you can actually get the lessons, okay? You can't just, it doesn't work like that. You can't fucking just say something over and over again and it becomes true. Yeah, but anyways, as far as working out and whatever, fucking you have to put the work in. If you're happy with how you look, if you're happy with how you are right now, fucking great, have at it, man. Fucking that's fine. But if you want to look, if you want to do better, if you want to be healthier, then you have to put the work in. You have to watch what you eat. You have to be willing to either get up and go to the, go do something. You don't even need a fucking gym. I do a bunch of workouts at home very often. In fact, some of my most favorite workouts that I have done have been at home, where I go downstairs into the living room, I roll out the mat, and I pull up one of my apps on my phone that I have downloaded for free. And some of them are 10-minute apps. Some of them are 20, 30-minute apps. I can set times on some of them anywhere between, 10 minutes and an hour. Some of them have taken me over an hour to do. And I break a sweat worse than I have at the gym because these apps, the way the apps that I use work is that you'll do an exercise, like say you do jumping jacks, right? It'll have you do something like jumping jacks for 40 seconds, and then you get 30 seconds of rest. And then you go into push-ups, and then you get 30 seconds of rest. And then you go into crunches, and you get 30 seconds of rest. And it goes through a ton of different exercises. So, and that's a free app that I can do right at home. So you don't even need a gym. So, if you're not a morning person, if you're not I just can't get up in the morning, then you can do it after work. It's not great. I've done plenty of workouts after work, and they're not my favorites, but it's still doing something. You can't just fucking lay in bed with a bag of Lay's potato chip on your lap while you binge watch the next Netflix series and say, well, I really want this. No, I don't think you really want it. You clearly you want to watch TV more than you want to look good. That's what I say. And again, if you're the type of person who's like, I actually don't give a fuck, then that's fine too. But don't be the third person in this analogy. Don't be that person that's like, I really want to change, and then do nothing to change. Oh, and I'm half an hour into this fucking show with 25 minutes left and like 9 topics to go. I'm almost definitely not gonna hit all of my topics tonight. If you are watching the live show, if you're watching the live video, you may see behind me is an acoustic guitar. I started taking acoustic guitar lessons a little while ago. I only took 4. I only took 4, but as it stands right now, I'm looking at the top of my computer, and I have 6 open tabs of YouTube guitar lessons. I am convinced, I'm certain, I feel that I can just, I can't become an expert. I can't become perfect by watching YouTube videos, but I can learn some songs, which is really what I want to do. I just want to, I wanted the guitar. I took the lessons so that I could learn a couple things through the lessons, which honestly, I didn't really, it wasn't very good. I took the lessons through Guitar Center. I was honestly disappointed. Thankfully, it was buy 3 lessons, get 1 free, so it only ended up being 4 lessons. But I just did not, I don't feel like I learned much. The kid that was my teacher seemed like a super nice guy, really nice kid. The problem was that he's probably 22, 23 years old, and he was really, rather than, my opinion, if I was going to teach, if I was an expert in guitar and someone came to me and they were like, hey, I want to learn, can you teach me? I would start by showing them some chords. Okay, here's a C chord, here's a D chord, here's an A chord, here's an A minor, here's a G minor, etc., etc. I'd show some chords and maybe how they kind of combine, how you can do, how you can move from one chord to the other type of thing. Strumming rather than picking single strings. That's what I might do. This kid picked 2 songs that he very clearly liked. Iron Man by Ozzy Osbourne and I think it was Sanitarium by Metallica. It was a Metallica song. I think it was Sanitarium. It was either Sanitarium or Nothing Else Matters. But either way, he picks 2 songs and he starts teaching me these 2 songs. And it's like, well, this isn't really me learning anything. You're teaching me, 2 different, a handful of different strings and what strings to pick, but I'm not really learning anything. So I have learned more through YouTube in the last 4 weeks than I did through Guitar Center in the first 4 weeks. So but either way, I bought the guitar and I told Ro, a week or 2 ago that I wanted to practice, half an hour a day, or at least, try to get in a half hour a day. Really what I want to do, I don't know if, how many listeners, I know Tony, there's Tony right there. That's going to be my question. There's Tony right there. Tony checking in on the comments. I know Tony plays guitar. I can feel the calluses getting in on my fingers, which I want. I want the calluses on my fingers because I can tell you those first 4 weeks trying to play, the fucking the first and second string, fuck, that hurt. But as I've gone on playing a little more, I can feel the calluses on my fingertips. I can feel it getting a little bit easier to hold those strings down. I'm still fucking muting strings, which is when, like, you know, you get your finger down on one string, but that same finger is touching the string below it, and I'm still muting strings, which is really bothering the shit out of me. Like, I can't wait to be over that part where I'm not doing that anymore. And, you know, I go to Guitar Center, and this sales kid was super nice, and he brought me through like their little acoustic guitar room to show me some different guitars. And I'm watching him play. He pulled down a couple from the wall, and he played a couple of chords or whatever. And I'm watching him, and I'm like, motherfucker, how is he fucking not muting strings? I don't get it. That's the point that I want to get to. I'm sure Tony's the same way. My friend Mike, my two friends, Mike. I have two friends named Mike that play guitar. Ro has heavily suggested getting at least one lesson from a different place, which I probably will in like August or September. I'll get a lesson from someplace else. And, you know, the only reason, because she brought up a good point the other night, we were talking about it, because I was telling her, like, I really don't want, like, I don't really see the point, because, you know, I went to the Guitar Center, I took the lessons, I don't feel like I learned anything. I've learned more through YouTube, and I keep learning through YouTube. You know, learning chords and you know, the beginnings of some songs and whatever. So, you know, I don't feel like I need to, for now at least, I don't feel like I need to go take any lessons when I got all this shit for free on YouTube. But one of the good points that she brought up was, you know, networking, basically. You know, meeting someone else that plays guitar who might be like, oh, hey, you know, I'm fucking playing with some friends tonight. Do you want to, you know, come by and fucking jam with us or something like that? So I felt like that was a good point, and that kind of made me be like, all right, yeah, I'll try, I'll give the whole, you know, lesson thing one more try from someone else, from a different place. But that's where I'm at with that. I you know, it's a new hobby. Here's the thing, it turns out flying really fucking expensive. And it's only gotten more expensive. I love flying airplanes. I love it. I caused a big fucking stir on my Facebook today between all these fucking people. There's this riddle that goes, you know, you put a 747 on a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt matches the speed with the 747. So if the 747 starts to move forward, the conveyor belt moves backwards in the opposite direction. So, you know, the plane is never moving forward. Now, I have talked to 3 CFIs who have all agreed with my opinion on this, that plane is not going to take off because it's just going to sit in one spot. It can't get forward momentum at all. It cannot get any forward momentum because this conveyor belt is constantly going in the opposite direction. Without forward momentum, it's not getting any wind under the wing. No wind under the wing means there's no lift. So that's, you know, so we can't take off. All right. So, let's see here. I guess we're not. I guess I'm not doing New England natives tonight. So that's fine with me. Just because you know, I still got, you know, as it stood, I only had 15 minutes left in this show before I was supposed to go on that show with Tom. And now I can just blow through my show, I guess. Finish up my show the way that I want to. So anyways, yeah, flying is really fucking expensive. It didn't help. It was expensive before. I mean, it was never necessarily cheap. I guess when I started flying, it was affordable. When I started flying, it was $155 an hour. It was $50 for the instructor. So it was $200. So in total, it was $205 an hour. All right. And I could buy gift cards. I could go there and I could be like, hey, you know, I got an extra $50 in my paycheck this week that I can spend. I'll buy myself a $50 gift card. And then, you know, the next time that I come in for a lesson, you know, I can use the gift card. So what I would do is I was constantly stacking gift cards. I'd go and buy 2 or 3 for $50 or $100, or, you know, maybe I think I bought one for as little as $25. I bought one for as much as $200. I'd just stack up gift cards, and I'd use those gift cards to pay for the lessons. Then I go in February. No, it couldn't have been February. It must have been like March, because I was back to work. I think it was in like March or April. I go back. I go back over there to get myself a gift card, and they tell me that they're not doing gift cards anymore. So that was the first problem. Then they already a year ago, they upped the price from 150 an hour for the plane to 165, and then they upped it again to 175, and then in March or April of this year, it was April of this year, they upped it to 185 an hour for the plane. And then I just got an email a few weeks ago saying that they were adding a fuel surcharge of $10. So $195 an hour is what we're up to, and the price of the instructor has gone up to $60 an hour. So the whole thing is gone. Now it's $245 an hour for me to fly, and you have to schedule in 2.5 hour blocks. So that's $600 to fucking fly. That's way too much money for me. At least right now, I don't know if I'll be, when I'll be able to afford that. It's going to be a few years, I think. But in the meantime, I thought, I want to find some other, hobby that I can, take up. I can take up a different hobby, and that ended up being guitar. So now I'm playing guitar instead of flying airplanes, which is fine by me. I like them both, and I'm not done flying. I just can't afford it right now. It's too fucking expensive. So, I think that I only have a handful of things left here on my list. Me and my mate just celebrated our 2-year anniversary, which was a blast. We had a lot of fun. We went up to North Conway, New Hampshire, beautiful little area. What we did was, so on Friday afternoon, we both left work kind of early, a little early, and she drove us up there, and we got a little hotel. We had reserved the hotel, a month or so, maybe 2 months beforehand. We got a little hotel for Friday night. Friday and Saturday night, I'm sorry. Get a little hotel up there, about, probably 4 or 5 miles outside of like North Conway downtown area. So we go there, and Friday night we go out to dinner at this place in North Conway called, everything in fucking North Conway closes at like 9. All the restaurants close at fucking like 9. There was maybe a couple that stayed open till 10, and there was one that stayed open till 11. This little place called Hooligans. Of all the names they could have chosen, Hooligans. So we go there, and it is it's a little bar. It's not like a fancy restaurant. In fact, neither of the restaurants that we went to were like a fancy restaurant. It was kind of a fancy restaurant. So we went to this place, and it was fun. I mean, the people watching was just on point. It was so much fun. There was all sorts of different types of characters in there. At one point, some bachelor party came in, because there's a place here in New Hampshire, northern New Hampshire, there's the Saco River, which is very popular with the tubing community, mostly the drinking community. What you do is you get in a little inflatable tube and you float down a river. It sounds like a really great time, actually, where we have already looked up going up there to do it. But this bachelor party comes in. They had been tubing and drinking all day, and they come in to like watch the end of the Red Sox game, and there was some guy at the bar. This one guy sitting there by himself, fucking just getting wasted, just fucking drinking by himself, getting fucking wasted. And eventually he gets up and he just starts to walk out, and we see the bartender like kind of chase him down inside the building. And talk to him, and he was like, no, I'm just gonna go outside real quick. She was like, okay, you're coming back to pay your tab though, right? And he's like, yeah, I just gotta go outside and make a phone call. And then he goes out and he just kind of disappears. And me and Ro are ready to pounce on him, mostly Ro, but ready to pounce on this guy. Like, hey man, you gotta pay your fucking bill. I don't think he ever came back. I saw him outside at one point. I went and told the bartender, and she went out and kind of looked at him, but that was it. And I don't think that he ever came back inside. At least I don't remember seeing him come back inside. And so we hung out. We had a few more beers there. Like we hung out. We had dinner there. We hung out. Had a few beers there. Some girl looked over at me, and my girlfriend fucking looked right back at her. It was actually pretty awesome. It was pretty badass to see my girlfriend. She tilted her head over and looked at her, and then waved at her. Oh man, and I just thought, God, I got such a little badass girlfriend, and she would fucking wreck you. So, and then Saturday we went to there's a little place in New Hampshire called Storyland. Storyland is a kids park. It's a little kids park, and it's based a lot on what you may have read as children. The old woman in the shoe, and Three Blind Mice, and Little Red Riding Hood, all those types of books that were read to you as stories as a kid. There's a place up here called Storyland that kind of revolves around those stories. So they do an adult night. It's called Nostalgia Night. It's 21 plus, and it's only on Saturdays during the month of July in the summer. So we went to that, and this is what I would say. This is what I really remember most of it. The first half hour that we were there, half hour, 45 minutes, when you first walk into the park, it is very memorable. It is very much like you walk in and you're like, oh my God, I remember this from when I was, 10 years old. I remember seeing this. I remember seeing this. I remember doing this. I remember, there's so many things that you remember when you first walk in. But once you break through that area, you've entered a part of the park that is completely remodeled. Everything is different from what you may remember as a kid. They've added rides. They've added like bigger rides. It seems like they've tried to make it more, fun for the adults when they come with their kids type of thing. Or maybe even trying to bring in more teenagers. I don't fucking know. But it was fun. I mean, we went in. We did our little walk around. The lines for the rides, super short. We went on one ride. We went on the teacups together, which was a fucking blast. We had fun. We didn't go on any of the other rides because really, like I just fucking said, for whatever reason, North Conway, all the restaurants close early, and we didn't want to be the last ones getting there. So we go in, and we kind of walked around for a little bit, but the longest line by a fucking mile was the line for alcohol, and beers were like $12. It was like $12 for like a fucking Bud Light in a solo cup, and you were allowed to buy 2 at a time. And the line for that, I went to a line to get a fucking pretzel. I went, and it was just this particular line didn't serve alcohol. It was just for a pretzel. There was like 4 people in front of me. I waited in line for 10 minutes. These lines that for the places that had alcohol, because you couldn't bring your own alcohol, you could only buy it there. These lines for the places that had alcohol, those people must have spent most of their time in line. I mean, the line had to have taken an hour to get through. So there was that. And then we went to dinner again at I forget the name of the place. It was like, I don't know, Moosehead or something like that. It was something to do with a moose. Excuse me. But it was a fucking really, really great time. And then on Saturday we took the long way home because we didn't want to deal with all the traffic. And I'm with Ro on this. I don't want to fucking, if there's traffic, but it'll cost me, but I could go a different way and it'll take 15 minutes longer than just waiting in the traffic, but there will be no traffic. I would rather add the 15 minutes and take the way where I'm not in stop and go traffic. I would rather just fucking be driving the whole time. I don't want to fucking be on a road, on a single lane road, which is the road to get to North Conway from where we're at. I don't want to be on a single lane road that is going to be stop and go for, an hour or an hour and a half. I don't want to do that, So She found a different route home that took us through a bunch of little towns, tiny cute towns and whatever, and we saw some stuff that we enjoyed looking at, and then we went to some outlets and whatever down in Kittery, Maine. So overall, it was a great weekend. We had a lot of fun. I forgot to mention the week before, just a few days before that, we went to a lake in, I don't know, I want to say, was it? Now I can't think of the name. I want to say it was Wolfboro, New Hampshire, but I know that's not right. But either way, it was a little lake party. It was like a work party for, someone that Roe works with, has a house on this lake, and he has a lake party every year. So we went to that. It was nice because I've never gotten to see my girlfriend in a bikini other than one time, very, very early in Muddy Moose. My Uncle Bobby got it. Muddy Moose. That is the name of the place where we went. But either way, anyways, so other than one time, very, very early on, we both went to this lake party. We did a little bit of swimming and had some really great food. And she made her watermelon feta salad, and I think I've mostly met all of her coworkers, at least the ones that were there. I think I had met pretty much all of them by then. But I don't remember a fucking name. I see these people for the third or fourth time now, and I'm like, who's that again? I'm just not good at that. So that was a lot of fun. I've been listening to a lot of Dateline. I think I may have mentioned that on an episode before. Been listening to a ton of Dateline as a podcast. And this is what I think I've come up with. It is incredibly difficult to get away with murder. It's next to impossible. The only way that I think that you could get away with murder is if you just had like an urge where you were like, I just want to do it one time. Just one time. I just want to do it one time just to get it out of my system, and then I'm never going to do it again. The only real way you could get away with that, and I'm not even sure you could pull this off today, because with traffic cameras and fucking, cell phones and all this shit, I don't know if you could get away with it today. 20 years ago, definitely. Maybe. I shouldn't even say definitely, because it's a maybe then too, because cell phones were still a thing 20 years ago. But really the only way you could is if it's a complete stranger, you go to some place like New York City or Los Angeles or whatever, and you fucking kill a homeless person. Someone that, people aren't, there's not going to be a lot of people looking. People, the police might be overwhelmed or whatever, and they're like, whatever, just another dead homeless guy. And then they fucking, they don't care. I'm not saying they don't care. I'm just saying, those types of cases don't particularly usually get solved. Or, you go kill a gang member or something like that, and then they think, the police think that it's gang related or something like that. All the murders that I hear on fucking Dateline, it's almost always, it's someone who's like a husband and wife, or ex-boyfriend and girlfriend, or a kid and his parents. It's always something like that. They're all fucking, I don't know how anyone, especially a husband and wife, I don't know, all the ones where I hear like the husband killed the wife, all I can think is like, how did you think you were going to get away with this? You hear the police interviews, and it's like, you were never going to get away with this. You could, firstly, I always say, get a fucking lawyer, okay? If you're guilty, get a lawyer. If you are not guilty, if you're completely innocent of whatever, and the police are like, hey, we'd like to have a conversation with you, definitely get a lawyer. Get a lawyer every fucking time, all right? I've listened to every episode, and when the person says get a lawyer, the police are like, fuck. Every time, every single time, the police are like, well, shit. I guess we gotta fucking find another way. And they every single episode they have a hard time. They gotta get a fucking confession, not even a confession. They just gotta start getting someone in a lie is what they need to do. Like, that's how it always works. That's how it always starts. Is someone's like, well, I wasn't there. I was, the one that I listened to today, the guy's like, oh, my ex-wife's house burnt down. That's fucking terrible. And she was in the basement. Oh my God. I can't believe it. And then the police are like, well, where were you? And he's like, oh, I was in New Jersey. And then they look at his cell phone record, and they see his fucking cell phone travels, to the house and then back down to where he was in New Jersey. And And then they find out that he has a girlfriend on the side. Every single time, almost every single time, they're like, and then we found out he was having an affair. It's like, how the fuck do these people think that they're going to get away with it? I don't fucking know. Like I said, I think the only way to get away with it is if it's a complete stranger. You have to have zero connection. And by zero connection, I mean you can't even be like, well, he hired me to do this. Like, because I've heard those cases too, where the husband thinks that he's going to get away with it because he fucking farmed out someone. And the prices that people are willing to accept for murder, look, all right, I could be bought, all right? If you told me, Donnie, I need you to kill my ex-wife, and I think that we can get away with this. I got a plan. I got a good idea, and you show me it all, and I think, yeah, okay, this looks good. This looks reasonable. I think you're right. I think we can both get away with this, all right? Here's my price, $500,000, all right? I'd say $500,000, all right? That's like really probably bare minimum is $500,000. And most of these people are like, okay, how much to kill a wife? How about $7,000? How about not? I heard one that was like $500. I've heard them as low as 500. I don't think I've heard one break $25,000 to commit murder. Not enough for me. All right, you want me to gamble my life? You want me to gamble the rest of my life in prison so that your ex-wife can die? No, I'm good. You're gonna have to find someone else on this one. Even real life hitman, like fucking Richard Kuklinski, he was a real life hitman for the mob, and they were giving him like $40,000-$50,000 a year. Here you go. Thank you for killing fucking 20 people this year, like a Christmas bonus. But the other thing that I thought was very weird listening to these episodes was pageant parents, parents that put their kids in beauty pageants. I'm not saying that all of them are bad, but certainly the ones that end up on Dateline are like, oh, these people are fucking weird, all right? You look at JonBenet Ramsey, if you've ever, listened to or watched any of the stuff with JonBenet Ramsey, I mean, the parents are just so fucking weird that, they're like, I don't know, farming out their kids. Is that reasonable to say? They're farming out their kids. They're like, dressing their kids up like little dolls or something like that and putting them in front of all these strangers. It's fucking, pageant parents are fucking weird. All right. I'm sorry that if you're listening and you're a pageant parent, but know that is how I feel. And then I also, on the true crime stuff, I watched the new DB Cooper Where Are You mini series, I think is what you would call it, on Netflix. It's 4 episodes, each of them about an hour long. Spoiler alert, there's no fucking answers, all right? By the end of 4 episodes, you still have no fucking answers. I have always thought that he must have jumped out of that plane and died in the woods. But if that's the case, how have they never found him? They do have a general idea of where he jumped. So I they've never found his body or anything like that. I guess it wouldn't surprise me too much if he survived. If they came, if some news came out tomorrow and they were like, hey, we discovered that DB Cooper died or survived his jump that night, and he lived out his life and then died. It wouldn't really surprise me. Problem is that he stole $200,000 in 1972. Has a value today of about $1 million. That money would have ran out. If he survives that, he didn't even get away with all $200,000 because they found $8,000 in a river, in like 1980 or 1982, something like that. They found $8,000. So that money wouldn't get you very far. I don't think. If I came into $1 million today, I know it wouldn't carry me for the rest of my life. If I won Mega Millions this Friday, and I win if I won just $1 million, I know that that's fucking weird to say is just $1 million because I'm comparing it to $1 billion. All right, it's comparing 1 penny to a fucking dollar. If I won $1 million off of Mega Millions, I don't know how far that would carry me really. He had 200 grand. It might have carried him for 10 or 12, 15 years, something like that. But then he's going to have to figure it out after that. They had a couple suspects on there. The thing that I'm not hating, all right? Let me put that out there right now. I'm not hating on this kid, all right? I applaud him for what he's accomplished. But it bothered me. They have a kid in the show. I say a kid. He's probably 24, 25 years old. And he hosts a podcast called like the Cooper Vortex or something like that. And the entire show is about DB Cooper. He does his show and he gets invited. First of all, he's on a fucking Netflix series. Secondly, he gets invited to like DB Cooper conventions because that's a real thing. He gets invited to these DB Cooper conventions. Excuse me. All this stuff, and I just think sometimes like, man, it does kind of suck that my show is just kind of a ranting show with my fucking random thoughts that I have throughout the week. Because if I had something, then that was like a niche. If I had something that was true crime, if I had something that was focused on fucking a specific TV show, or just movies or something like that, then maybe the show would be bigger. But then again, at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I have my base audience, and that's really what I care about at the end of the day. I mean, I thought to myself a few weeks ago, I was thinking, like, I kind of wish that, I love working for the post office. I absolutely love the post office. It's a great job. I make plenty of money through it. It's a really good job. I really enjoy it. But I do wish that my pay was performance based in a way that was like, the more that you do, the more you get paid. Kind of like, but there's not a lot of jobs out there like that. And there's certainly none that really interest me. Like stockbrokers are kind of like that. They're performance based. You can be a stockbroker and make 50 grand a year and be happy with that and whatever, or you can really be a fucking go hard and move to New York City or something like that, work on Wall Street and make millions of dollars a year. And then I thought to myself, well, I guess kind of like podcasting, doing this podcast, I guess I could kind of like make that a performance, I could make that like a performance based thing where, this is my income. I make a living based on doing this because I put all of my effort into it. I could do that. I could probably fucking do that. I listened to a handful of podcasts that ended up quitting their job because they were making $40,000 a year at their job, and they were able to, quit their job and focus solely on podcasts, and now they make 40 grand a year doing podcasts. My problem is that I like money too much. I like making money too much. So if I'm making, say, $50,000 a year through the post office, and I was making $50,000 a year through podcasting, I still wouldn't quit the post office because I'd be like, no, because now I'm making $100,000 a year by doing both. Why would I quit one of them? I'm going to lose half my income. It would have to be, the scale would have to be tipped way in a strange direction of like, I make $125,000 a year podcasting and $50,000 a year at the post office. The scale would have to be tipped pretty well for me to change it, to change how I operate. I like the podcast. I like the post office too much to quit right now. My Uncle Bobby said, why do you do the podcast? Relief, fame, or fortune? Mostly relief. Mostly fucking like a relief valve. Mostly it is a fucking period for me to get some of my thoughts out. The whole thing, I'm glad you asked that. I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. The whole thing started because I would walk around with, thoughts in my head. I'd walk around and be like, fucking gun control is bullshit. Fucking... There's already 20,000 gun laws on the books, and, one more is not going to change anything. I'd walk around with thoughts like that, or thoughts like, diets, doing a diet is basically just starving yourself. Things like that would cross my mind, and I'd have a conversation in my own head where I'd be like, essentially talking to myself, and I don't care about admitting that. So I thought like, hey, if I write some of this stuff down and then I, turn on a microphone and hit record, then I can put this out there somewhere, and maybe there's some people out there that feel the same. And as it turns out, there's plenty of you. There's plenty of people out there that feel the same. How long have I been going for? This feels like it's been a longer than usual episode. Hour and 4 minutes. It's a bit longer than usual. The only other thing that's on here that me and Ro talked about the other day is trying things you don't like multiple times. I don't know if any of you are like this. I have done this many times. A more recent example, my uncle said, so if you go for the money, it becomes stressful. Well, yeah, of course it becomes stressful because you've gone from, it's easy to look at, especially the podcast that I listen to where those guys have turned it into into a source of income, and that's their full-time job. It's easy to look at it and be like, oh, well, look at that. He's only putting out an hour a week. Once a week, this person releases an episode on, say, true crime. Those are the most popular for whatever reason. This person puts out an episode of true crime, 1 hour a week, and he covers a new true crime thing every week, and that's it. That's it. And that seems like a great thing, right? He's making $40,000-$50,000 a year, maybe a little less. But he's only working 1 hour a week. Well, he's not really working only 1 hour a week because he's also got to do all of the research into the topic. He has to look into everything. He can't just pull up Wikipedia and read off of Wikipedia. If it's true crime, then he's probably reading a bunch of articles, many, many articles about whatever the case is. He's, he or she is, going through those articles, picking out what he can find as fact. Not to mention verifying. One of the podcasters that I listen to is constantly submitting FOIA requests to different police departments. Freedom of Information Act, if you don't know what that is. Doing interviews, finding people to interview about whatever topic may be there. Then also, the more important part, finding sponsors and negotiating deals. Figuring out, okay, if you're my sponsor, then how much are you going to pay me? I have a handful of sponsors, and they were easy. They were easy sponsors, because they were just like, look, here, we'll give you a fucking offer code, and then we'll give you 10% or whatever of the sale, and that was basically it. These other people are making deals that are like, no, I'm buying ad space on your fucking show, and these guys do it in a way that's like, okay, you're gonna give me $1,000 up front, and I will guarantee you 4 episodes for the next 4 weeks where I give you 60 seconds to, where I will talk about your thing for 60 seconds in each episode. So of course, it definitely becomes more stressful. For me, the way that I do it right now, it's pretty fucking easy. I do it when I fucking want to. I do try to do it on a weekly basis. I know that I missed the last few weeks, but I already explained at the beginning of the show why that happened. I try to do them on a weekly basis. But I don't have a schedule. I don't have to hear anyone. And if I wanted to make it better, if I wanted to keep it growing, then consistency is key. I could do it and say, at every fucking Wednesday at 8:00 is podcast time. That's when I'm going to do my podcast. But as it stands, that's not how it works right now. Maybe I'll be better about that in the future. We'll see. We will see. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, trying things multiple times. A recent example of this is Aroma Joe's Coffee. Aroma Joe's is a little chain, coffee shop here in New England. I used to really like their coffee, right? I would go there every morning, get myself a large caramel with cream and sugar. Not a healthy drink. It was like fucking 500 calories. Last year, in an effort to lose weight, I switched to black coffee, and that's all I drink now is black coffee. And when you start drinking black coffee, you find out who makes good coffee and who's just hiding behind cream and sugar. Aroma Joe's, I went to 4 different times for a coffee. Excuse me. I got a small black coffee 4 different times, and 4 different times I threw it out. And what me and Ro were talking about the other night was like trying things that you don't like. You know, in this case it was their coffee. I tried it the first time and I was like, that was terrible. And then I went back and I was like, well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was because it wasn't. Maybe they didn't make a good batch that day. I'll try it again. And I tried a second time, still terrible. And I went back 3 and 4 more times. So that's one example. I don't mind admitting that I tried. Someone asked me the other day if I smoke weed. For some reason, people constantly just assume that I smoke weed. I don't. I don't know why people see me and automatically assume that. I'm not sure where that comes from. People automatically assume that every time. I don't know what it is about me, how I look. I'm not sure what's going on that just makes people think that that's something I do. It's not. And here's the reason. I've probably tried it, I don't know, anywhere from 7 to 10 times. I haven't tried it a bunch, but I've tried it quite a handful of times, right? I've tried it a handful of times, and I have never liked it, ever. But, the first 5 times, I bet at least the first 5 times, I tried it, and I was like, this sucks. I don't like it. It makes me dizzy. It makes me not feel good. I don't feel good. Like, I feel sick. I don't know why you guys like it. And every single time, I've just been like, this is not for me. But I thought, well, maybe it was a bad fucking batch, and I'll try it again, and I'll try it again, and I'll try it again. So if you have examples of things that you think you've tried multiple times, I'd love to hear them. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for me tonight. Don't forget to check out my sponsors, 4HM Clothing. Justin did check in on the comments. As far as DB Cooper, he said he went back to work and life, and no one knows who he was. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty close to true. And then he also said Prey is coming August 5th. Ro had me watch the trailer for that the other day, and we're both eager to watch that. Let's see here. Is that all he said? He said a couple other things there. Wow, congratulations. I imagine that's regarding our 2-year anniversary. So 4HM Clothing, use offer code adulting, get 10% off any order over $50. AdamEve.com, use any, Jesus. I'm tired, okay? It's Wednesday night right now, and so far this week I've worked 49 hours. I've worked 49 hours with 2 days left in the pay week. So a potential for close to 70 hours working this week. I worked on Sunday. I didn't want it to be a 10-hour day, and it ended up being a 10-hour day. So it's been a long week. I'm eager for Friday night to get here. So all that said, AdamEve.com. Use offer code adulting, 50% off any one item, plus free shipping, plus 10 free gifts, gift for her, gift for him, gift for you both, 6 free DVDs, video on demands. Who else? Manscaped, offer code adulting, 20% off your entire order, and StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use offer code adulting, get 10% off your entire order. I think it's 10%. Maybe it's 20%. I don't remember the percentage you get off at Strikeforce Energy, but I know that there's people using my offer code, and I appreciate you. So, all right, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for checking in, and I promise I won't go a month between episodes again. All right, bye.